Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Women in Retail Talks. I'm Caitlin Sullivan, Senior Editor with the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, and I'm here today with the ladies of Harper Wilde, Jenna Kerner, and Jane Fisher, co-founders of the brand. We're here today to discuss a little bit about the campaigns that are starting and about the brand. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to speak with you.
Great. So I just kind of want to dive right into it. What made you want to create Harper Wilde, and where did the idea come from?
Yeah, it came from a really organic place. So it was about 2 years ago. Jenna and I were in business school at Wharton, and we were learning about a lot of other direct-to-consumer businesses that were changing the way that we shop for commodity products, like eyeglasses with Warby Parker and mattresses with Casper and Dollar Shave Club with razors. And it just hit us that one of the biggest commodities for women wasn't being addressed yet, bras. And when we talked to women, they were very clearly frustrated with the process of purchasing bras, how long it took, the condescending in-store process where you get measured, sifting through hundreds of options, and how much it actually costs to pay for one bra. So that was about 2 years ago that we realized there was a huge opportunity, both from the demand side with what women wanted and also on the market side with the fact that there's a huge industry with enormous margins and one dominant player that was really taking over. So it was back then that we decided we were going to try to address the problem with Harper Wilde.
And you mentioned kind of in passing there Warby Parker and being at Wharton. Were they an influence at all?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of direct-to-consumer businesses that come out of Wharton. And, you know, I think that the professors were able to see a lot of those businesses get started while the students were in school and also advise them after. And so I do think there's, you know, a lot of inspiration and shared learnings that comes from that. And, you know, we were very fortunate to be able to work with some of those professors and work with students who had worked with a lot of these companies and, you know, just able to better form our thesis on the industry and how we wanted to enter. So definitely helpful to have that prior experience at our fingertips as a resource.
Definitely. And you mentioned that it's just kind of 2 years ago. How has Harper Wilde kind of changed from the original thought of what you thought the company would be over the 2 years, and what have you learned within this first couple years of a startup?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we came up with the idea 2 years ago and then launched about 7 months ago. So in the year and a half that we were building the business, it definitely evolved along the way. And I'd say the biggest thing that dictated the change that we implemented was all the research that we did and all of the stories that we heard from women. So Jenna and I actually didn't come from retail. We didn't have a background in bras or bra design. And so we relied heavily on what all of our customers or our future customers told us. So we did surveys with hundreds of women. We ran focus groups. We ran an in-person trial event at my house in Philadelphia when we were in school, where we spent $0, but we basically replicated what would become our home try-on program. So it's evolved in many different ways, and where we ultimately landed was, what's the biggest pain point for women? Why are they not replacing their bras? Why are they spending money on themselves with designer jeans and designer purses, but their bras are 5 years past their expiration point? And what it really came down to and where the evolution landed was on innovation within the purchasing process. And so not the product itself. We knew we had to make an excellent product that women would love, that would include everything she loves, soft fabric, adjustable front straps, a lot of different aspects that women really love about it, but where the innovation needed to take place was in how she finds the bra and how it's priced. So that's ultimately where we landed.
And the only other thing I would add is that in addition to, you know, really thinking about and evolving the business model, it also evolved a lot in terms of like what the brand stood for and the bigger picture. And not so much as an evolution. This is something that was really core to Jane and I from the start, but I think in other people's perception of kind of what Harper Wilde really was trying to solve. And it's always been about more than bras for us. It's been about, you know, empowering these busy, driven female leaders who, are spending their days in the boardroom or running around the hospital in scrubs, and, shouldn't have to spend 3 hours shopping for a bra. And so for us, it's always been about how do we make her life easier? How do we, provide an empowering brand and voice for her to relate to? And so that's something that, we've seen over time really resonate with our customers, when they may hear about us as a bra company and come to realize that we really do stand for a lot more than just that.
And focusing on the customer and being consumer-centric, I think, is so critical for retailers today. Going off of that, for the on-demand consumer, is there any specific emerging technologies that Harper Wilde's looking to implement in 2018 or in the future?
So for this year, we're really focused on, our own technology around free home try-on, and that's something that is, really new to the market for retail products. So we allow women to, come to our store online, choose any 3 products they want to try on. So whether that's different styles, different colors, or different sizes if they're not sure of their size. And we allow them to try that on at home for free for 7 days. So it's really about bringing that in-store fitting room experience into her home and empowering her with, her whole closet at her disposal on her own time, and helping her understand how she can fit herself for her bras. And so, for us, rather than looking externally, we're really looking internally about, the technology that we've built and how we can continue to evolve that, because that's become one of our best acquisition channels, and customers have really loved the novel idea and the opportunity to try something at home for free, and they only get charged for what they keep and what they decide, they want to purchase from that home try-on.
Do you think you would ever open up a storefront for Harper Wilde?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our thesis is really that the consumer wants to buy online today. We heard so loud and clear from women that the in-store process is a rough one, to say the least. It's a really condescending process that just takes up a lot of her time that she doesn't have, and she doesn't want to waste spend bra shopping in stores. So where we're really focused today is around creating the best possible online experience. So that's why we, as Jenna mentioned, have focused on the home try-on, because this is essentially allowing her to try on bras risk-free, similar to how you do in a dressing room. You just take a few to the dressing room without having to put any money down, and can try on different sizes. So we're really focused on that, because that's really what we've heard from women. To your point on your quote, they want it delivered. So we're delivering the dressing room to them.
No, I think that's excellent. And as we're talking here, the word empowering the customer, the theme of that has come up multiple times. And I do want to sidetrack to a little bit. I know you have an excellent marketing campaign going on right now. And I'm just going to lead in with the term "send nudes." Do you guys want to explain on this?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who don't know, our entire line is really focused around just skin tone colored products. And we offer different nude colors. So we have beige, we just came out with a tan, a brown, and a black. And so nudes has really been our thing. And when we were thinking about Valentine's Day and really what it typically stands for, there's always this notion of sexualization and embellishments, and that's really not what Harper Wilde stands for. And so we thought, what if we send nudes for Valentine's Day? Kind of an ironic take on the traditional Valentine's Day. And so what started as a bit of a pun on send nudes really evolved to a much bigger campaign as we worked through it. And we just launched yesterday, and from now until Valentine's Day, for anyone who posts a response to Instagram to an unwanted send nudes request, so something funny or witty, we will send a nude bra to an organization called Free the Girls that helps empower victims of sex trafficking. And this is something that's really important to us. It incorporates both the humor that's central to the brand, and it's, empowering women with different ways that they can respond to an unwanted send nudes request, with giving them tons of crowdsourced funny responses. And at the same time, we're able to do good and give bras to women who are really in need of the product, and this organization helps them get back on their feet because they're able to sell the bras abroad in a secondhand market. So yeah, we're really excited about it, and we hope we can get as many people as possible to participate so we can send a lot of nudes.
I cannot tell you how much I love this campaign. I saw it, and I had the original reaction I was like, what is this? And hold on a second. And then when you read more into it, it goes along with your mission, and it goes along with helping others and empowering the consumer, and then also just kind of the play on words of taking back what the term "send nudes" mean, but also kind of like in a hold on a second kind of ways. So creating a startup is such a labor of love. What inspires you the most day to day, not only within Harper Wilde, but outside of it as well?
For me, it's, this is Jenna, for me, it's really about, building something and building something that helps other people. This is a bit of a long-winded answer, but I started my career in healthcare. And always thought I would do something in the healthcare space. And so it's interesting. It's an odd transition to retail, and yet at the core of it for me was, how do I help other people, and how do I help people help themselves? And so that's something that I took from my drive to be in the healthcare space and have really applied as Jane and I built the brand of how do we find a way. It's not just about bras for us. It's really about helping women. So for me, the inspiration really comes, how do we empower other people?
And I think for me, I would say day to day, there's a lot of inspiration from the customers, actually. So we've got a close pulse on all of what customers are feeling, from what they're writing on social media to all the tickets that come in. We have someone who works with us who helps answer those, but we definitely stay close to them. And I think even in a tough time when maybe we're fundraising or we're pitching to some men who maybe don't understand really what the crux of the problem is, and then we have women write into us like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for something like this forever. I had this horrible experience 2 days ago where I wasted 5 hours of my time, and now I'll never have to. And so it's just cool as a reminder all the time to understand that there are so many people, so many women out there who really want this product.
Absolutely. And then, so we talked a little bit about how much Harper Wilde has changed. Do you have a favorite mistake or a favorite failure that kind of led into a different process than what you expected?
Yeah. So one that we made was we originally thought we were going to fulfill everything in-house at the start. And so the way that looked in the beginning is we did a trial launch while we were still in school in Philadelphia, and we had thousands of bras shipped to Jane's apartment. And her and I and some friends that helped us out were sitting there with all of the bras. And when we launched, I think it was around 2 a.m. on the second or third night of that week, and we realized that we were not well equipped to be pick, pack, and shipping ourselves. So that was a really awesome learning for us. We were very happy we learned it early on because we were about to move out to LA and set up the office in a way that we would be pick, pack, and shipping. So it was a good learning that, always test things small and see what happens before making big investments. But we have a lot of great memories from that time period.
And my very last question is that it's been a crazy 2 years, but where do you see Harper Wilde 2 years to 5 years from now?
Yeah, our aspiration is really to become the next go-to for everyday bras. There's one big dominant player, and they really stay top of mind for women today. When you travel and you forget your bra, that's where you think to go. And we want to really become that next go-to. Our guiding light has always been around simplifying women's lives to enable them to do everything else in their life that's so much better than bra shopping, which is literally everything else. And so every part of the company, from how many clicks she has to go through to check out to the fact that there's a crack and peel return label in the box so she doesn't have to print it out, everything we've thought through has been about simplifying her life so that we can become the next go-to for everyday bras.
Excellent. And sorry, the very last one is for women starting their own business now and for getting into retail. Do you have any advice for them?
I would say just stick to it. I mean, one of the most important things that stuck with Jane and I as we were building this business is, we talked to women who had been in retail and in lingerie specifically, women and men, for years when we were starting this. And, a lot of them told us, don't go anywhere near bras. It's the most difficult garment to make. There's over 20 pieces. Just don't do it. And, for us, we really found a passion and we knew that we could figure it out and we knew we wanted to give it a shot. And so, I think for anyone starting, you're going to get people saying, yes and no in every different turn of the business. And I think you just have to definitely listen, but, take everything with a grain of salt and follow your passion to, really keep pushing.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank you for joining us today on Women in Retail Talks. For more information on this episode, you can visit www.worldseed.com/podcast for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. But please remember to subscribe to our podcast channel page as well. Thanks. Until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.